answer to the other Liliana. Gray here continuing to hit land drops, topping with his tops, using his Jace. Could we see him be possibly setting up for like a large Entreat the Angels here?
I don't think he needs a large Entreat the Angels. The thing is, he just needs an Entreat the Angels. He's probably not slow rolling an Entreat the Angels on top. If he had it, he'd probably cast it for like 2 or 3 and be totally fine with that.
With Andrew just in top deck mode at this point.
Definitely. But he does need to find it as a 2-of in his deck. Looks like Jace is going to hit the bin there. But we do see some life gain for Gray. Yeah, so kind of a... I forgot. I lost my train of thought. That's funny. Oh, if you guys are just tuning in, yeah, if you're just tuning in, this is our game 1 in our final round of our Legacy events. We have Blue White Red Miracles versus Punishing Juns, and at this point, it's kind of a Planeswalker war, Liliana versus Jace, and it's always kind of an interesting one. I've seen it before in like larger Legacy tournaments where Liliana will ultimate with a Jace on the field, and he'll say Jace every other permanent. And they'll just choose Jace. And they can honestly just win from
Jace
there.
versus the deck. Yeah, as we can see from Andrew, he does have the Punishing Fire combo going after Jace the Mind Sculptor. And what you mentioned earlier, you know, Punishing Fire, typically a card you think of against the aggressive decks. But here, as you said, Andrew using it to great effect to take care of those Jaces. Plusing Liliana the Veil. Controlling Gray here, and he's made quite a bit of a comeback here. Gray in a little bit of trouble. He's gonna draw that Scalding Tarn with the top. Look at the top 3, and he will most likely be fetching away and trying to find an answer to this Liliana the Veil, which may be on ultimate plan here. We'll see if Andrew tries to let it stick around for one more turn so we can keep it after the ultimate.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the plan, unless he's sitting on one in hands.
You know, Gray he's demonstrated he does not have a card like Venser. He does not have a card like V-Click. So Andrew, we'll see if he tries to get max value off of this Liliana Veil. And Sylvan Library from Andrew Wang.
That is a tough card for the Miracles deck to beat too.
That is one of the cards that can really get him back into this game, so to speak. He was falling behind against those Jaces earlier. You know, he was able to have that Liliana stick around, killing the Snapcaster, and Sylvan Library. That's going to be able to draw him some cards, and that's what this matchup is all about right now.
Kind of the same problem as with Dark Confidant. Is like any card advantage that the Punishing Jun deck is able to gain is really hard for the blue-white, for the Miracles deck to beat. Unless they're at this point in the game, I think it's definitely better on like earlier turns of the game.
For sure, and Entreat the Angels could end the game at any point. And you see Gray fetching with that Scalding Tarn, getting a new top 3 with the top out, looking at the top 3, and he's trying to find the Entreat now. He wants the Angel train to just be able to seal up this game, force an activation of the Liliana, and even then, he's at the point where he can make enough Angels where I don't think Andrew's going to be able to stop him.
And that's realistically the only threat that could actually win him the game is to Entreat the Angels with the Punishing Fire in the graveyard still.
Right. And Andrew, very few answers to a large Entreat here. You know, maybe I think he has a one-off of Maelstrom Pulse actually in his deck, and that can take care of it. However, Gray has been able to find the Vendilion Click, which is now going to go after that Liliana the Veil. Andrew does decide to plus it to 7, so that Vendilion Click will be able to knock down that Liliana the Veil, but no, Punishing Fire takes care of the V-Click, protecting the Liliana, and Gray, he's on the back foot here, topping, seeing if he can find any answer to that Liliana ultimate. Now, that being said, that Liliana ultimate is not going to kill Gray. You know, he's got enough lands out where he's going to be able to keep mana. You know, he's going to be able to cast the cards in his deck. That being said,
it will be like a quadruple Vindicate.
It will be a quadruple Vindicate against Gray. With the Sylvan Library out, it's going to be tough for him to come back from that.
Definitely. And Andrew is at a comfortable life total now where he can draw multiple cards and feel comfortable with it. But it looks like he just opts to draw 1. He's going to ultimate first, give Gray less options here.
And Gray drawing a card with the top in response, just so he doesn't have to make a decision with that top whether to keep it or not.
Definitely.
He's going to opt to keep that top on top of his deck. Liliana the Veil going down this turn will not be able to snag that last card in his hand. And as you see, Andrew is going to try to split the blue sources and the white sources. He's going to try to take gray off of blue or off of white here, essentially off of white, most likely. Gray is going to be pretty priced in, I think, to keeping the 5 lands at this point.
Yeah, but realistically, it is 4 lands because he does have the Wasteland in play. After the ultimate, he'll have so now he'll have 2 basic planes.
And Gray opts to keep the 3, and the Tundra does eat a Wasteland. So Gray down 2 planes here. That's going to shut off a lot of his action. You know, he does still have the Sensitive Divine Top on top of his deck. He drew a Tundra off that top, so he's got top on top of the deck, Tundra in hand. So will he be able to play a top, play a Tundra, look at the top 3, try to find something? Andrew's still without a clock on the board besides the Punishing Fires. However, Gray pretty far behind at this point.
Yeah, reverted back to turn 3 with no cards in hand.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good for Andrew. You know, he was really behind in this game against those Jaces, you know, card advantage, Snapcaster, but Liliana the Veil and Punishing Fire doing work. That's really the amazing thing about this Jund deck is, you know, it's so aggressive, it's so disruptive, but it can play a long game, even against a control deck like Blue, White, Red Miracles.
Yeah, no, definitely this deck was actually built kind of to beat Miracles, because like 2 years ago when Miracles was just running rampant, and like definitely one of the best decks, if not the best deck in
Probably
Legacy.
was the best deck in Legacy at that point.
And then Deathrite Shaman got printed, and they were like, hey, well, this is a creature that not only accelerates me, but also has late game potential, and you have Liliana the Veil, Tarmogoyf, Dark Confidant, and then Bloodbraid Elf. Like, all these cards are just super insane against the Miracles deck, and it was kind of just a meta shift from the blue-white control decks to now something like more of an Abrupt Decay mid-range decks.
Right, and with the printing of Abrupt Decay, you know, Counterbalance wasn't the end of the world. Even if they did have him walked out, they could still draw Abrupt Decay, kill the Counterbalance, draw other cards, and get back into those games they would not have been able to for. Plus, you know, turn 2 Liliana. Yeah, Alpha Deathrite Shaman is pretty good.
Definitely.
And we see Andrew just returning those Punishing Fires, Punishing Firing, 3-mana gut shots to the face, grinding Gray down, going up with the Liliana the Veil. He still doesn't have a threat on board, but those Punishing Fires will end the game by themselves.
Yeah, and that's almost threat enough in itself. Gray cannot go more than 5 more turns without just dying. Even without a threat in the field.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, Punishing Fire, not only an answer to creatures, not only an answer to Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's also a win condition.
Also a win condition, yeah.
And Andrew just playing out his cards, doesn't want to discard anything relevant to Liliana the Veil. With 1 in hand. He's going to activate Grove of the Burnwells, returning that Punishing Fire. Yep, that's what he's doing. Sending Gray to 13.
How do you feel about keeping the plains versus islands there? On Gray's, with the choice of the Liliana the Veil Ultimate.
You know, Gray knew the top 3 cards of his library. He had a Tundra in hand. I think it had to be a mistake, though, to lose those 5 lands compared to the 3. You know, the white sources are relevant because those are the cards Gray needs to deal with his creatures. You know, the Source of Plowshares, the Terminuses.
Right.
But Andrew didn't have anything at that point, and you know, if he had a Dark Confidant or a Tarmogoyf, he would have run it out before upping his Liliana the Veil. I think you just got to keep the lands there because keeping 3 lands and then getting your Tundra Wastelanded down to only 2 planes, there's just not a whole lot he can do.
Maybe he accidentally clicked the pile he thought he was going to keep.
Yes, we have Aaron Fisher stopping by, limited player extraordinaire, rules connoisseur extraordinaire, making some
witty
Magic Online
banter.
jokes. All the misclicks happen. I'm sure many of you have been dream crushed by many a misclick on the Magic Online.
Sometimes it's the Gifts Ungiven pile too, where you're supposed to choose the ones that go to the graveyard.
Yeah,
and instead you choose the ones that you want them to go to their hand, and then they go to the graveyard, and you're like, wait, that's not what I wanted.
We had
I gave them the best pile rather than the worst one.
An incident recently where we had I can't remember what it's called. It's something Siren. It's a 2/1 blue, black, and 1 creature from. I believe Born to the Gods that makes him discard a card.
Siren of the something.
Yeah, Siren of the something. Anyway, we cast Retraction Helix, on the Siren, and then accidentally tapped it to bounce itself instead of a Blade Tusk 4. It was not good. It was not the result we had desired, and we lost that match. So misclicks, one good thing about live Magic, misclicks not going to affect these games.
However, you do miss triggers. That's the big one.
You do miss triggers, and that is big.
On Magic Online, you get to see basically how everything's playing out and where it is on the stack and all that stuff. It's very hard to actually miss your triggers. However, in real life, it is very easy for an unexperienced player to be missing their triggers.
Yeah, saw someone play Lim Duel's Legacy, which lets you draw 2 cards in your upkeep and miss that trigger. Shuffle the cards from your hand back into your library for 1 in the blue.
Yeah.
Not a good trigger to miss. 2 mana, discard a card is
pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. But yeah, as you can see, Andrew upping the Liliana, and we have Snapcaster from Gray here. I believe he does have Swords to Plowshares in his graveyard, which will be used to take out that Dark Confidant. Trying to claw his way back into this game any way he can.
Yeah.
When Snapcaster is good, it's not going to be able to pressure that Liliana because, again, Andrew with the Punishing Fire combo will be able to take care of that very easily. And, he's going to just ultimate Liliana again. Keep vindicating him.
Yeah, this is going to get real awkward for Greg in the next coming turns. Even though Andrew has not been seeing his threats, he has to at some point, and Gray's still just floundering here just to keep.
Yeah, again, and Andrew had a very high life total with that Sylvan the Library out. He's going to be able to draw a lot of cards if he so wants to. At this point, I think he's just opting to draw 1 a turn, play it, plus the Liliana. No reason to draw extra cards if he's just going to be discarding them.
Right.
And we do see Punishing Fire does take care of the Snapcaster Mage. Looking with the library, trying to find a Tarmogoyf, trying to find another Bloodbraid Elf, just trying to find something to close this game out. Up goes Liliana the Veil, discarding the Punishing Fire, which is such a combo,
Yeah.
To return that card with Grove of the Burn Willows.
Or when Liliana first came out, there was a lot of play with Stand Still and Life from the Loam, where you're just getting so much card advantage from against your opponent, and so you don't really care to discard one. With Life from the Loam, is one of the best cards to combo with Liliana the Veil.
Absolutely.
Even though it's a bit slow in Legacy, being able to draw 3 cards for 2, and every single turn, and then just have each player discard 1. You really don't care about the discrepancy there.
We're just going to make sure we have these life totals correct. Andrew is actually at 26, and Gray is at 15. We've missed a little bit of there's been some Grove of the Burn Willow, some Swords to Plowshares here. We're just going to get this corrected for you guys. Not too big of a difference in this game at this point, but this is where we're at. Andrew's still drawing lands, still going up with that Liliana the Veil, and Gray just has a hard time getting out of this. He doesn't have the mana to be able to just land a Jace the Mind Sculptor, doesn't have the mana to be able to land the Venser, or entreat for a significant amount of angels here.
Yeah, and Jace right now obviously isn't very good either because of the Punishing Fire.
Exactly, those Punishing Fires just going to take care of anything that comes down. And Gray, shrugging his shoulders.
Yeah, kind of an awkward position Gray's in here.
Is there any reason for Gray to just scoop? Say, hey, go on the next game. We've used more than 20 minutes here. I've got to win the next 2. The blue-white deck, a lot of tops, a lot of brainstorms, a lot of fetches, and going to time can be a real problem for the Americans deck sometimes.
That could be entirely relevant. Yeah, a lot of people, if they know they're going to lose game 1 and have a very slow deck, they will just concede and just go on to the next games where they'll try to win 2 games pretty in a pretty well good pace so that they can actually be able to finish within their allotted time.
Right. Gray, at 15 here, I think, he's thinking this is just too high of a life total. I'm not going to scoop when I'm at this high. Andrew's not going to kill me anytime soon. I still can draw out of this game. There's still a path to victory here. So he's not going to do that. But if this gets much worse for him, I think he's going to have to pack it up and go to game 2.
So Liliana -6 to destroy a single Tundra.
Yep, that Liliana ultimate getting worse as your opponents have no permanents left, but your opponents having no permanents left is also pretty good by itself.
I might have actually separated the pile as Plains, Tundra, and then Plains.
Right, so he could possibly keep the Tundra, even though it is a blue source, it is wastelandable.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I pulled today, Glenn?
What was it?
That's what I pulled today for draft.
That's pretty good.
My 3 packs. I was like, yes.
We are
Andrew continuing to return those punishing fires.
Yeah, and this is I really don't see why Gray isn't scooping here, but we will continue to try to commentate 2 punishing fires a turn.
Yeah, 7 turns, he's going to get there. He's just to keep going up with that Liliana the Veil. And of course, Andrew, he's going to draw. He's going to draw a threat at this point. Gray down to no cards in hand, 2 lands, Sensei's Divine Top, a Tarmogoyf, a Bloodbraid Elf, a Deathrite Shaman, anything like that will finish this game out very quickly.
We might actually have those in Andrew's hand. He's just opting not to play them too.
And the problem with Gray here is that when he can't hit land drops, that Liliana the Veil is just going to make him discard that card. He can save it with the top, but then the top's back on top of his library, and he's going to have to discard something. He obviously doesn't have a land in the top 3, otherwise he would have drawn it with the top and played it. So he wouldn't have to discard that Liliana the Veil. So he's just unable to get anything going because he can't cast most of the cards in his hand. And that's kind of the Liliana the Veil lock, so to speak. Andrew just content to keep on using those punishing fires.
At this pace of the game where Gray's only at 2 lands and realistically can't cast anything relevant in this board state, needs to see lands here, but most of them are already in his graveyard. It's looking like a done deal here.
Yeah, no brainstorms, no V-clicks, no Jaces, just none of the cards they can dig out of the situation. As you can see, Gray just discards Force of Will, nothing to do with that card. He topped 3s, and then
he's going to draw his graveyard, and then
he's going to scoop this game up, 50-minute rounds. They've used more than half of their time already for game 1. John grinding out a victory against the Miracles deck. Another 10 minutes for that John deck to kill him with the punishing fire.
When John's in that kind of a position, I would actually be kind of all right with drawing out the game. If the Miracles player wants to keep playing, if they think that they're not going to be able to finish a game 2, that's actually a legitimate win. Going 1 win and a draw is actually a win for the Jund deck. I would be fine grinding out that game.
Absolutely. There's no reason to. Sometimes you don't even want to hurry to finish. If your opponent is obviously has lost the game, but it's just not scooping, it's in your favor. You have no obligation to finish out the game.
As long as you're progressing that board state, casting maybe a punishing fire a turn, or just upping Liliana, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Kind of a matchup that favors the Jund deck, I think. Just having a lot of cards that are good against the Miracles deck, but definitely Miracles has some really good potential to win.
They have Entreat the Angels, they have Terminus, they have Source the Plowshares, they have some answers. However, not be able to fight that continued card advantage from the Punishing Fires and the Dark Confidants.
Liliana
the Veil, mopping up in the game 1.
Yeah.
Game 2, sideboarding.
Sideboard's really tough for the Jund deck. They don't really have a lot against this matchup. I think cards like Maelstrom Pulse are okay. Being able to get rid of Counterbalance fairly reliably.
Treat the Angel tokens.
Treat the Angel tokens, Jason Mind Sculptor, all problem cards for the Jund deck. So that card's fairly good. They have some amount of Pyroblast, but that's not super good against the Miracles deck. That doesn't do a whole lot, and it's gets countered by everything in the Miracle player's deck.
Though I do imagine they probably will bring it in.
Yeah.
Cards at the Jund deck, it's more that they don't want to take out very much, right?
Yeah.
Because most of the cards in there are quite good. You want your Tarmogoyfs, you want your Deathrite Shamans, you want your Dark Confidants.
I think for sure it's slots that it can take out in this matchup are Lightning Bolts, and that's
right.
like I can't think of another card. that they
Maybe
want to
take out an Abrupt Decay or two.
Yeah, I mean, it's realistic that the Abrupt Decay is only going to be targeting a counterbalance. So if you feel like you can beat counterbalance, even if they play it on turn 2, and maybe the Miracles players might be siding out some amount of counterbalances because it's not that good in this matchup.
Right.
So you can kind of mind game there a little bit too. So yeah, maybe taking out some amount of counterbalances. But again, yeah, not a ton of cards to bring in this matchup. But again, Curse Totem. No, Null Rod.
Null Rod.
Every time. Null Rod here is actually very good. That entire game was able to be drawn out that long because of the fact that Gray had a Sensei's Divining Top, but if you shut off that card draw or like card advantage engine, then he's just kind of dead in the water.
Don't let in Miracle and Treats and Terminuses whenever you want to.
Exactly. Miracles are supposed to be miracles, not floated on top of the library for whenever you feel like casting them.
So let's go check on the game now. See if we got in. Do you expect him to board out Force of Will? And we see these guys are good friends. Looks like Andrew is just boarding face up. He's going to be putting in Duress and Pyroblast.
It looks like he's taking out
Maelstrom Pulse, Lightning Bolts,
and a Hymn to Torok. I would.
How do you feel about this strategy from Andrew?
I definitely don't suggest taking out the Maelstrom Pulse, but the other 3 cards I feel like are pretty good cards to take out. Hymn to Torok is a very powerful card, but Gray does run Misdirection, and he also has Sensei's Divining Top. It's like it's pretty good in the earlier turns of the game, but when Gray is at the point where he's top decking, and he has Sensei's Divining Top in play, Hymn to Torok is like the worst top deck, and you just want as much threat density from the aggro deck as possible.
So Andrew's thinking, hey, in this matchup, I'm actually might be the control deck. I don't want a dead card like Hymn to Torok in my late game. I want an action spell or a spell like Pyroblast.
Or maybe he's not playing as a control deck, but he definitely wants as much threat density as possible.
Cards that kill him dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Or cards that actually interact with the control player. Always. I think Duresses are a little bit better too, just being able to get the turn 1 top. However, Gray is going to be on the play of this game, so I wouldn't necessarily suggest siding in the Duresses when Andrew is on the draw, but we'll see if it comes into play.
Andrew's still figuring out what he wants to do here. The tough part about this matchup is that most of the Jund's cards in the main deck, they do want, you know?
Right.
They have okay cards in their sideboard, but it's always the difference between what you take out and what you put in.
Definitely.
It doesn't help you to put in good cards when you're taking out better cards. As you can see, Andrew's thinking about taking out that one of the Abrupt Decays. Again, a powerful card, can kill counterbalance. However, you know, not going to be able to interact with the spells, not going to be able to interact with Jason the Mind Sculptor. Gray, on the other hand, probably boarding out Force. What is he boarding in this situation?
Rest in Peace, Relic Progenitus. I have seen Is It Staticaster in his sideboard. Could be coming in here. Very good with the Is It Staticaster. Or like, if you have a Rest in Peace already in play, Is It Staticaster goes to killing just Dark Confidant, to killing Dark Confidants and Tarmogoyfs.
Right.
Which
so
is
that
very
way,
good.
if they can kill your Rest in Peace with like an Abrupt Decay or something like that, build their Goyfs back up, you can just negate it right away and shoot them down. Also, it can just block low power creatures, stop Death Ray Challenge from attacking
Definitely. And also just block like smaller Goyfs, or it just acts as a blocker if he's in a low enough life total where it matters.
So we see Gray leading off with the Crocus, Andrew responding with Forest Deathrite Shaman, which immediately eats the Swords to Plowshares. Playing a Tundra, passing it back to Andrew. Dropping a Sensei's Divining Top, and this is the start that Gray wants. Oh, here, we'll reset these life totals for you guys.
Yeah, let me get that real quick.
I believe, did Gray? No, he didn't fetch yet, yeah. So both these players are still at 20. Andrew dropping to 19. Fetching for almost undoubtedly a Badlands, which I'm a fan of.
Badlands is actually probably one of the best lands in the deck, which is kind of weird. I thought the deck was kind of more base green, but it's actually base black.
Yeah, you think of it as a base green deck because you're like, oh, you know, Tarmogoyfs and Deathrite Shaman, but, you know, Deathrite Shaman's actually kind of more black than it is green, even though you kind of think of it, because it's in elves, it's always in these green decks.
Or it's a 1-mana creature that ramps you.
Right, so you think of it as like a kind of better Birds of Paradise.
Yeah.
But in fact, its life gaining ability not too relevant in this matchup. And
So Gray's Swords there was able to stop the turn 2 Liliana.
However,
but now he has the Dark Confidant.
Dark Confidant out unanswered, drawing him cards.
Yeah, he already drew a Tarmogoyf off it.
And that's the amazing thing about Dark Confidant is when it's not answered, it wins you the game very quickly. You just outcard advantage your opponent. And Gray, the fact that he didn't kill it means that he cannot kill it.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew, with the Wasteland attacking the mana base, Gray's in a lot of trouble here. He's going to need to find a Terminus or a Source of Plowshares, and he will absolutely use a Terminus to kill that Dark Confidant.
Yeah, 1-for-1 here is not what Gray wants to do, but it's definitely worth it when he's able to get rid of the Dark Confidant. But it looks like he's going to pass here, which will give Andrew another Dark Confidant trigger.
Now, do you think Gray should maybe just try to fetch and try to see if he can find something to top to, like a Source of Plowshares, for instance, try to stop Andrew from getting card advantage off that Dark Confidant?
I think he has a game plan here. Gray's a pretty seasoned player, and he's played this deck for a couple months now. I think he knows what he's doing, but it does seem like, yeah, he really needs to find an answer for this Dark Confidant here.
Andrew fetching again. Again, fetch lands with those Deathrite Shamans, so good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Gray is planning on doing about this Dark Confidant or this next couple of turns, but if he probably just wants to keep the fetch land, I'm guessing.
Perhaps he got something like a Vendilion click, which he's planning to flash in when the Dark Confidant attacks him and try to trade.
That would be also a good play.
Risky, though, because the Jund deck has a lot of cards that interact with that. You see a Liliana the Veil, I believe, eating a Spell Pierce. Dark Confidant coming in. Gray looking at the top three, trying to find an answer, and he does not. We just see Volcanic Island pass, and I believe the red splash is only for Red Elemental Blast.
Yeah.
Which will obviously not be coming in this matchup.
So that's kind of 2 times now we've seen Gray playing his Volcanic Island against Wasteland decks, and then have it not be relevant too because they're not playing red.
Absolutely, you know, those lands being non-basics, it's not free, you know. You think of them as strictly better than islands, but Wasteland, even cards like Back to the Basics, Blood Moon,
yeah,
you know, it certainly can be relevant. You see Andrew continuing to draw cards, continuing to come in with the Dark Confidant, dropping Gray to, I believe, 16.
Sylvan Library.
Playing Sylvan Library, another card advantage house against Gray. Gray's going to have to counter this if he is able to. You just can't let Andrew out card advantage him like this.
Yeah, especially when his Dark Confidant will no longer be giving the Punishing Fire damage every turn.
Right, because he can stack those triggers how he wants to.
Right.
Let the library resolve first, set up the...
well, he can't actually do that. The library comes into play.
Oh, that's on the draw step, right? Oh,
but he can't set up the next turn,
right,
which is relevant.
Right. Next turn. And it looks like...
Disenchant
taking
the,
out the Sylvan Library. And that's just a pass from Gray, though. That Dark Confidant.
So Disenchant seems kind of weird against a deck that's not running a lot of enchantments and artifacts.
Yeah, you know, it's not a Stoneblade deck, but maybe he's thinking, hey, this guy might put in Pernicious Deed to deal with my angels and my tops and my counterbalances.
Yep, or Null Rod.
Null Rod would certainly be a card Gray would like to deal with, and as you can see, taking out a Sylvan Library, not too bad.
Not too bad there. I definitely don't think he sides in both his Disenchants.
Right, probably just the one, and that is one big advantage of these Brainstorm decks, is they can side in more situational cards that are really when they're good and dead when they're not, because oftentimes they'll brainstorm them back to the top of the library, fetch them away, and you know.
Or when they have cards like Sensei's Divining top, they can just keep it floating on top and not really worry about it.
Right, and just have access to it if they want. And you can see Pernicious Deed was sided in by Andrew to deal with those angels, deal with those counterbalances, possibly pick off a top if he tries to draw with it. So Disenchant.
Disenchant, not bad.
Not bad.
But we will need to see. Hopefully, we'll see the Pernicious Deed get some value here.
And we see a double fetch from Gray here. 4 mana. Most likely, I believe, is Venser keeping open Krakus.
That's definitely a possibility. I think that's actually probably what he's doing.
Um,
I don't know why he's waiting, or he's casting it on his main phase, though. It might actually just be 1 angel.
5 mana.
That is a Keranos.
Is that actually a Keranos?
That is actually Keranos.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a Keranos enter the battlefield. I will eat my words on that volcanic island. It has tapped a, I would say, not standard playable blue-red god.
It is probably not constructed playable. It's hardly limited playable. It's a very fringe card, I would say.
This is very interesting, however. We have him Torok eating his hand. That Keranos, pretty good here.
Yeah.
Can't be pernicious needed. Will almost undoubtedly take out the Dark Confidant. However, Gray is very far from turning that card on.
Definitely, he's not going to be able to turn it on, but the card advantage,
Just the lightning bolts and extra cards.
yeah, he'll be able to lightning bolt that the Dark Confidant down, most likely, or draw an extra card from the getting a land off the top. It seems very good in this deck when you're able to get it down, but having a 5 mana card that doesn't do anything when it first comes into play seems a bit of a stretch.
Right. So now he's just kind of used it as a essentially a Phyrexian arena, so to speak, topping in his upkeep to set up that draw. He's going to draw a spell, lightning bolt the Dark Confidant, draw the Vendilion Click. Andrew is going to read that Keranos. And yeah, this is an interesting turn of events here. Unfortunately for Gray, most likely not going to be able to shoot down that Tarmogoyf. And I'm going to check for you guys how big that Tarmogoyf is. I believe it is a 5/6.
Get life totals too regularly. Cool.
Uh, 16-7, and Tarmogoyf is a 6er.
So Tarmogoyf is a 6/7, so almost a 1-turn clock from Andrew's side of the field. If he has a lightning bolt or punishing fire in hand, definitely a 1-turn clock. So kind of an interesting position that Gray's in. He definitely needs to be able to remove the Tarmogoyf here.
And sorry, I went away from the screen for a second. Is that Vendilion Click still in Gray's hand there?
Yeah, we do still have a Vendilion Click in Gray's hands with the 3 mana open.
He's going to try to block with it against the Tarmogoyf. However, Pernicious Deed could prevent that. However, he does have the Krakus to return it. And
well, Pernicious Deed would blow up the Tarmogoyf as well.
oh, it's very true. Very true.
So we actually have Gray dead on board here. He's going to bounce the Vendilion Click.
In response, Andrew's going to bring back the Punishing Fire, go up to 8, hit him for 6,
and
then Punishing Fire him for the
correct.
finish.
Yeah, that's what I think the play is here.
Let's see what he does. Gray up to 8, Punishing Fire comes back. Tarmogoyf still getting in.
So Tarmogoyf will bring him to 2.
Assume that Tarmogoyf has connected at this point. And turning Punishing Fire, casting Punishing Fire. Does Gray?
Does that bring him to 1 or to? No, he's at.
It's possible that Tarmogoyf is not connected yet. Or did
Yeah, so Tarmogoyf connected. I think we had our life totals a bit off. That'll bring Gray to 1 now.
Oh, okay.
Because he V-clicked, bound, returned punishing. He V-clicked, punishing fired, groved, went to. That should be lethal. I think we have our life totals right, but I'm not sure. We'll play it out.
It's possible that Andrew, he blocked with the V-click, or did he? He must have punishing fired that before blocks. I assume,
He punishing
right?
fired before blocks because he's at 1. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, either way, I believe Gray is at 1 here. Needing to deal with those punishing fires. Is Andrew going to be able to wrap up this game? against the V-Click and Krakus, against the Sunson's Divine Top. Ray trying to find something. Again, he does have that Keranos out, and he just shows the hand, and that is the hand.
That is the finals. Jun
We have
being able to
Andrew
take
Wang taking down Gray in 2 games, punishing Jun over Blue, White, Red Miracles.
And Punishing Fire really coming into play in both games. As you were saying, you might not think of it being a good card, but in this matchup, it's just insane being able to remove every single one of the threats minus Entreat the Angels is really relevant. And just having a recurable card draw engine with your Liliana of the Veil, it's just
Taking out Delay and Click, taking out Fencer, grinding his life total down.
yeah.
Punishing Fire doing work for days.
It's a win condition in itself, which is just crazy. I've actually seen a lot of lists though not run Punishing Fire because your deck is base black and you're running 4 lands that are tapping for green red, so it's kind of awkward.
Kind of harder to cast.
Yeah, but
you're running Wasteland as well.
In the grindier matchups, it's definitely good. So yeah, Punishing Fire really taking in those games. Liliana the Veil doing work game 1.
Yeah.
And then that game 2, I think just came down to Gray not really having.
He just didn't have the interaction. You know, he was able to source the Plowshare with that Deathrite Shaman on turn 2, but not able to deal with the Dark Confidant. Dark Confidant drawing Andrew a bunch of cards, and just essentially swamping him with card advantage.
Yeah. The Dark Confidant drew him like 4 or 5 cards.
Yeah.
And then afterwards playing the Sylvan Library, and just having the threat density he needed, the Tarmogoyfs, Punishing Fire being able to take care of any of the things that Gray put down. Really kind of handedly, Jun was able to take that.
Yeah, you know, Jun getting work done. There's a lot of good cards.
It plays the best cards in all 3 of those colors, so it's not really a deck. It's not up to the deck construction. It's just like in any format, if you just put the best black, red, green cards in the deck with a curve, it's a good deck.
It's amazing. He's like Jun, modern.
Yeah,
same deck, just slightly worse, standard.
Even
Jun,
even now I'm playing a deck in standard that's like its curve is just like 2, 3, 4 Rakdos return, and it's just like insane. It's really good.
Yeah, you go up a little higher. You don't have the hymns, but you got the Rakdos return.
Yeah,
you got the Tarmogoyf, but you got the Plukronos.
Yeah, you get Reaper of the Wilds, and you get Caryatid, which is 0-3 blocker.
Don't have Lightning Bolt, but you got your Mizium Mortars, you got your Lightning Strikes.
Yeah. Jund is just kind of one of those decks you just put all the cards together and make it happen.
A lot of mythic rares.
I think actually every single card in my standard Jun deck is a rare or mythic rare.
Including lands?
Can't not think of a single one. Actually, I'm playing.
There's a forest, isn't there?
Nope, there's 2 Mutavaults and 11 Scry lands and 12 Shocks.
Golgari Charm?
Sideboard. Come on.
Say no to commons and uncommons.
Sideboard doesn't count. But yeah, that was our Legacy event coming to you from Dark Tower Games Bellingham.
We are here with the champion. The champion. You want to come on? Andrew, come.
I'm just gonna say hi.
The champion of the Legacy event. He has piloted Jun to a flawless victory.
I don't know about flawless, but hey, we'll give it to him. So if you want to watch us, we generally are on FNMs around 6 or 7 o'clock when our round 2 starts. Same with our Legacy events.
Legacy events tomorrow at around 6.
Yeah, Legacy events are on Thursdays, and FNMs are on Fridays. We'll be back like around 6:30-ish. And then also, if you're in the area, the Bellingham area, we're doing conspiracy drafts like all day, Saturday and Sunday. Whenever we get 8-man pods, we'll just start one up. So,
and is Dark Tower going to be starting modern tournaments?
We actually will be starting modern. I think they're going to be on Wednesdays. If you take a look at our Facebook, you'll be able to keep up with us, any of the events we're doing. So Facebook, look us up, Dark Tower Games, and then we're also on YouTube for all our archive videos. So, yeah. I think that's all I had to say. I got my plug
that's
in.
A wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for watching.